Hey folks, the Uniformed Historian here. Today I'm joining you from Fort Borman in Parkersburg, West Virginia to talk about the raid of Parkersburg in 1862, which didn't happen. Allow me to elaborate. There was a group known as the Moccasin Rangers, which were a group of Southern sympathizing civilians who all got together with their weapons and decided they were going to harass Union citizens of the Northern persuasion. Well, only problem is if they get captured, they could be held as, well, criminals rather than prisoners of war, so anytime they would get captured, they would claim to be part of the 19th, sometimes the 20th Virginia Cavalry. Well, there was a rumor that they were in the area in force, and they were coming to this place to raid and pillage and steal and murder and do all kinds of unspeakable acts to the Union citizens that lived in Parkersburg, West Virginia. There was no truth to that. As a matter of fact, there were only 16 of them that were in the area at that time, and they were out in the big Tygart area of West Virginia. But, moving on from that fact, there were 3 men that were out on the Parkersburg Pike. And by this point, the rumor had reached Ravenswood, where there was a very meager Union force under the command of Colonel Frost. He got word that there was this attack that was about to happen on Parkersburg, so he borrows Company K of the 1st West Virginia Cavalry and starts to ride this direction with all due haste because he wants to make sure that Parkersburg is protected from any Confederate attack. Well, these 3 men that are out on the road between Ravenswood and Parkersburg, they see this dust cloud approaching them, and they think, what in the world? So they go to get a better look, and they see all these uniform-clad men on horseback riding as fast as they can towards Parkersburg, so they panic, and they run back into town. Oh my gosh, they're coming, they're coming. So church bells start ringing. Citizens are running all over the place, screaming, trying to hide their valuables. The shops are trying to move their goods into secure locations. The threat was so serious that even the banks here attempted to move all of their assets across the river, up the river to Marietta, Ohio, where they would be safe from any Confederate attack. There was a point during all of this chaos that there was a covered bridge that was destroyed. The floorboards were ripped up so they could build up breastworks to defend against any attack from across the river. However, this also prevented people from the south side of Parkersburg from being able to cross the river to get back home. So they were kind of up the creek, if you know what I mean, had there been an attack. Enough, the business district over on Market Street was being looted by looters at the time. So looting is not a new thing. It even happened during the Civil War in times of chaos. Now, the threat was taken so seriously that the mayor of Parkersburg, he sent a telegram to the mayors of Marietta and sent a message also to Belpre and asked them, hey, we're about to be attacked. Can you send every available gun and every available Union sympathizing individual to come assist us with the defense of Parkersburg? They marched here as quickly as they could. And when they got here, they set up and they waited and they waited and they waited, and nothing ever happened. No attack ever came. So after all this is said and done, there has to be a scapegoat. Somebody has to be held responsible for this embarrassment. Well, the citizens remember back to the 3 individuals that saw the Union soldiers riding towards them and mistaken them for Confederates. Well, one of them happened to be a Confederate sympathizing individual, and they virtually lynched him and took him to the jail, and his buddies actually had to get him out of jail. Now, after this is all said and done, the Wheeling Intelligencer never misses an opportunity to talk bad about Wood County. They printed in their newspaper just all kinds of garbage about the Wood Countyans. They just didn't like us for some reason. And they printed that there was all these ways that we could have prevented this from happening, any number of ways to ascertain the truth, which I guess is easy enough to say if you're how many miles away. But after the Great Raid that never happened ends, there has to be a way to prevent something like this from happening again. And in order to prevent that from happening again, a detachment of the 11th West Virginia and Carlin's Battery are sent here to this place on this hill which overlooks everything you can see behind me, and they construct what comes to be known as Fort Borman, named after our first elected governor, Arthur I. Borman, which that will be another video separately. I thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's something a little bit different. You don't normally talk about things that didn't happen. So I hope you enjoyed it. Take care and God bless, my friends.